This is me introducing my patient case and my referral process for someone who would have a potential mental health issue and mental health referral plan as far as management, care, and referral process. The first step for this process would be the recognition of the mental health issue. Specifically with this patient case, I noticed that the patient has obvious possibilities of suicide as well as lack of interest in normal things they would do, attributed to many things outside of sport as well as inside sport, whether it be the coach, their dad, their current living situation. It doesn't matter really. That all those things factor into the fact that they might be having a mental health issue. The recognition can come from any place. Being this athlete right here, they self-report it to me, but it can also come from observable behavior. Like I mentioned before, there's certain things, feeling guilt, negative talk, cognitive disruption, loss of energy, but the most important one would be self-destructive behavior, and that's one of the big general red flags. And the report could either come from either the athlete reporting it, me observing it of the athlete, or indirect reports, saying another athlete's or a coach saying, I don't think this person's right. This person seems like they're this. This person seems like they're having a tough time. I've heard them say that they might have self-destructive tendencies. Those are all red flags pointing to the athlete needing mental health referral. Once the mental health issue is identified and located as extreme issue needed for referral, the procedure would go, obviously, like I said, identification of the red flags. So the self-harm issue is one of the main ones, but then determination of what would be the next step, whether the in-house referral is a method or out-house. Currently at Grandview, we have Kent Shornick and Kendlin Gordon, who are in-house management for mental health issues, but there's obviously Mercy has as well of a hotline for mental health here, shown here, available 24 hours with psychiatric nurses, mental health counselors, psychologists, all available to you at all times of the day. Once you determine whether the in-house or out-house option is available, depending on the severity of the athlete's mental health dysfunction, appropriate referral to a certain mental health specialist would be needed. So whether it be a clinical psychologist, psychiatrist, licensed counselor, or a clinical social worker will determine whether the athlete will all determine whether the athlete's needs are. It is usually at this time as well that the athletes, also it is usually at this point in that time that consent would be obtained, so that way we can give the athlete the most effective method of treatment. So information would be shared amongst the mental health specialist, the athletic trainer, and the team physician, and whoever else might be involved with the athlete to give them, like I said, the best possible care available to them. After the initial meeting with the mental health specialist, the team, a plan would be put in place between the mental health team that is built of the team physician, like I said, the mental health professional, and the athletic trainer, and whoever else may be part of that, whether that be an on-campus resource or another off-campus resource. As the treatment plan goes moving forward, the roles go, the athletic trainer is the point of contact from a day-to-day basis, so they have the most exposure to the athlete and will be administering most of the daily treatments once the athlete is determined to be less hostile, less suicidal than they were originally when they came in. So they will be receiving most of the information directly from the athlete on day-to-day understanding of feeling, PROs that might be implemented, and general understanding of feeling whether the progression is getting better or worse. The team physician will be the point of contact to determine whether the athlete is suited for return to play. They will make the final decision on the athlete's return to play, and the mental health professional will determine the athlete's plan moving forward to be implemented either in-house or out-of-house. Once, like I said, once the patient is stable enough to the point where they should be able to function and are no longer suicidal in a normal basis, post-care referral and management plan will be implemented. This mostly involves the athletic trainer receiving daily updates from the athlete, whether that be via text or direct contact. determining how the athlete feels. Do they feel better? Do they feel worse? Are they feeling good? Are they feeling bad? Are they having a terrible day? Is there something that's bothering them that they need to talk about? All that can be directly implemented through this process. Supplemental things can be used to kind of monitor the athlete's progression. There are certain PROs, specifically the ones that I have selected here, the Supplemental Social Health, the Social Support Survey, Patient Health Questionnaire, and the Columbia Suicide Columbia Suicide Severity Rating Scale. Looking here, I have a copy of the PHQ-9. It's basically just an implementation of just finding general symptoms of depression and monitoring them. So do they have little interest in doing things? Are they feeling down? Are they not eating? Do they have little energy? And going from a 1 to 4 scale of that, this can be implemented, I'd say, bi-weekly or weekly to determine whether this is getting better or worse in the athlete's eyes and kind of monitor their changes. This is a copy of the suicide rating scale, and this would be implemented more so to determine whether the athlete still has suicidal tendencies. So this would be implemented immediately to determine what degree the athlete is suicidal, and then possibly, I'd say, every 1 to 2 weeks, probably more so 2 weeks, to determine if there's changes in the athlete's cognitive appraisal or feelings of suicide toward themselves, asking questions of, have they planned suicide? Have they attempted suicide? Is there any suicide intent? Do they have any suicidal behavior? So on and so forth. Again, all these will be in tandem to the recommendations of the mental health professional who is leading, coordinating the patient's mental health plan moving forward. Identification of social support can be a big thing moving forward with the athlete, because while they have the athletic trainer, the mental health professional, and the team physician as their professional turn to for mental health issues, social support would be ideal for implementing, having someone when they're to talk to when they're in their room, having someone to console to when they're by themselves, just having multiple people in their lives that they'd be able to talk to about these issues, and finding out whether they do actually have those people or are they lacking that, and that could be something that would be beneficial to them moving forward. Social support includes how supportive are their parents, how supportive are their coaches, teammates of their situation and understanding. Do they have someone that on those different aspects that they can talk to about these situations? Or is the athletic trainer the only point of contact that they have for venting about mental issues? Being that stress could be a big part of the athlete having this mental issue or having this negative cognitive appraisal of themselves, psychosocial interventions could be a big thing for helping them out in this situation. All 4 of these techniques, somatic relaxation, cognitive relaxation, thought stop, and self-talk, all could be implemented to de-stress the athlete and decompress the athlete to get them into a better place mentally, whether it be stopping them from having these negative thoughts of destruction of themselves or doing harm to themselves. A self-talk to reassure positive thoughts that the athlete may have of themselves, promoting those good thoughts. Cognitive relaxation to downregulate all the bad thoughts they might be having in their brain right now. Depending on when the mental health professional would like to see them next, a follow-up will be done to assess all the gains they have made and determine what will be the next step of their progress, whether it be a meeting a week later, a meeting 2 weeks later, a meeting a month later, or whether the process would be down-regulated to being handled in-house by the campus counseling center and the athletic trainer, and having the mental health specialist be for emergency referrals at that point. Slowly returning the athlete to return to play will be big for them, so getting them acclimated to being part of the team and getting things normalized back in their life will be big. So it doesn't have to be full participation all at once. It can be starting out with slow things, doing partial practices, doing drills, helping set up with practice, team meetings, getting them to feeling like they are part of the team again will be big in the athlete's cognitive appraisal of themselves and mental feeling. And still at this time, the athlete will still be having the PROs implemented to them, determining their cognitive appraisal of themselves, making sure that the treatment is still going according to plan and that there is no additional stressors or regressors of their treatment right now. As I talked about before, confidentiality is going to be a big thing with this situation, given that the mental health team has communication amongst each other and sharing of information to give the athlete the best care possible. Confidentiality among other groups is going to be a thing. While at any time the patient does have the right to revoke the sharing of their information to any group of people or giving permission to share the information of a group of people, it is important that no medical records about the student be released without their permission. The athletic trainer does not and cannot discuss mental health issues with the family if the athlete does not want them to, if they're over a certain age. To ensure that confidentiality is maintained, a general statement to use is if coaches or anybody asks about what's going on with the player, saying that the player is taking rest from participation right now, is taking a leave from participation right now, and will be able to return later or shortly. While confidentiality of the patient's condition is of the utmost importance in this situation, it is also good to keep all other parties at least somewhat in the loop of what the patient's condition is. So that means effective communication with the coaches and athletic directors. So giving them updates or giving them a situation like, hey, the athlete is getting better or the athlete is progressing better, but they're still under the care of the mental health professional right now, or the professional right now, not necessarily the mental health professional. They're just under treatment care, and that's the only thing that can be discussed right now. Depending on the situation with the on-campus care, the athletic director might be involved or might not be involved. It all depends on the situation and the allowance of the athlete to release of that information. Moving forward and giving the most effective care is going to be optimal for this. So making sure that effective communication between all parties of the sports medical team is going to be essential. Making sure that daily updates on patient's cognitive appraisal are administered both to the team physician and mental health specialist. Making sure that the results from the meeting of the mental health specialist make it to both the athletic trainer and the team physician. Making sure that any clearance given to or taken away from the player by the team physician is communicated with the athletic trainer and the mental health specialist. And depending on the situation of the athlete's age, also communicating with the parents of the athlete's current situation. If they're underage, the parents have to be in the loop. But if they're over the age of 18, then the patient can take away the rights for their parents to know about their mental health situation. An overall good way of early detection for this is to kind of relay the message to the coach, athletic directors, player, have a general meeting about the importance of mental health and the significance it can have on a player's life and what it all affects. Giving that understanding to the players will kind of make it more normalized, so that way they don't see mental health as a different situation than any other injury. An injury is an injury, so depending on whether it's physical or mental does not matter. It should be treated the same way as by any health professional. Another good way of early detection is having good rapport with not only the athletes but the coaches as well, so that way you both have a good understanding of that. I will do my job as the athletic trainer and you will do your job as a coach, and we will make sure that this athlete receives the best care possible. Making sure the athlete understands that you're more than just there for physical injuries, that you can be there for consultation, and if they need any help, they can always come to you for most things involving sports and their injuries. Creation of infographics could be a very good prevention strategy as well. It just gives another way for the information of mental health issues to be given out to the general public in a more digestible manner. Possibly implementing pre-screening tools so that way any people with red flags on their questionnaire that they would have they'd be doing pre-participation could be tallied and marked, so that way if there is an issue there, an understanding of why there's an issue or where the issue came from is there, or given they can implement the medical health professional before the issue becomes a thing. Here's an example of an infographic. Just kind of gives a general information about depression and mental health issues for easier digestible. And this is my presentation on mental health.